Hello and welcome to the EEPROM 9. It's been a while since I've done anything, especially anything Husky related. So, a good long while back now, I got this in a batch of like 3, and this one came along, and the screen was busted. And it's like, he can be a parts unit for the other DVWs that I have. Because somehow, despite these things being rare as rocking horse shit, and on top of that, them being obscure, I have managed to acquire 3 of them. And this is one of the 3. The other 2 are fully working examples with nothing wrong with them. But it turns out this one works, because I put batteries in it and got the display to fire up. Well, the half that isn't smashed. So it is time to actually put in work to restore this and reverse engineer the key map, because we don't know what the actual key map is of these things, and it would be brilliant to create a document and put that on the website. So, iFixit time! So there's a bit of a multi-part plan to actually getting this thing restored. First off is replacing all these style connectors, which the 8s absolutely love, but they're garbage because they disintegrate, with actual proper pin head editors that can plug into all this, and, you know, reliable ribbon cables that don't just fail after you unplug it like once or twice. Reverse engineer the key map, maybe reverse engineer the board too, because it doesn't look too complicated. Find a way to source a 4-line 4x32 monochrome LCD. I'm still not sure how I'm going to do that. Replace the ribbon cable down here into the display because it's the same this style. Put something better in it. So I'm going to desolder this. There's like 30 contacts to desolder, so that's going to be fun. On a double-sided board, which, not great, but not the worst. And maybe put in some effort to actually reverse engineer the protocol that goes to these displays, so I could potentially actually replace, put an Arduino in line with a more standard display, which would make things a lot easier. But yeah, if anyone had any links to those, I'm going to do some measurements on it. There's a tape measure or something around here somewhere. There's also measuring tape on the actual bench itself. So from metal end to metal end, it is 60 millimeters. No, 160, because it's 16 centimeters by 6 centimeters or 60 millimeters. So it's 160 by 60. So that's actually not too bad. And I want to make sure I measure. I'm going to actually remove the LCD panel from this metal shroud and measure it as well, because I need all the details I can get. And forgive any background noise from fans, but it's 30 odd centigrade, 60% humidity. And my little portable air conditioner only really does one room, and that is the bedroom. So you'll have to forgive any background noise from fans. But let's get started. There's a lot to do. Also, before I do anything, oh, there's where one of the moths decided to reside. We need to look at the pin pitch of these. And the pin pitch is thankfully pretty standard. So I can use this style connectors to connect between this board and the board below, which will make the RAM board actually quite easy. The display boards and the keyboard's going to be a bit more tricky, but I intend to give it a longer ribbon cable as well, so you can actually fold it open a lot easier, because these are just too fragile. There's a reason I don't open these up much. So shorten out pins, these 2 on the very right side, will turn it on. Sometimes it can resist a bit. I think that's because other keys are being pressed at the same time. Come on, you're doing it last night. Oh, we almost had it there. It doesn't help the beeper's not connected. Don't think the display helps. But regardless, you can see the screen lighting up. Yeah, you can see it on the camera. Cool. Come on, I wanted to say the DVW. Are those two touching again? Oh, almost. Oh, I've got my hands on the RAM, haven't I? It's a little susceptible to electrical noise, this thing. Regardless, it powers up even though it's deciding not to play ball now. So that just demonstrates it does work. It's a little janky, that's known. I mean, it is half dismantled and broken. So this is the keyboard unit, which also has the piezo buzzer built in. Well, if we just help it forward, the main thing has printed plastic sheet with all the buttons, keycaps and all that. This section is vacuum formed, so it's very low production. They're actually hand cut out, so they didn't even actually put in the cutouts for these. They did it with just someone with a pair of scissors. You could see the permanent marker lining where they lined it out down there. You know, these are very low volume production. I mean, there's little dimples here that actually push on pretty standard tactile domes. Obviously, when it's in the machine, it'll be this way round. So this is your power and enter and that kind of stuff. And you got a 1, 2, what's that? 6, 18. So 18 pins, 2 of which are for the piezo buzzer. These 2 are for power. Interestingly, power seems to always be on its own thing with the Huskies. But I'm curious to see how this goes with the key map of the Husky Hunters. But yeah, that will be very much one I might even design a PCB for. And just have it, not necessarily get it made, but just get it so it's out there. So if people need a keyboard for one of these, they've got a keyboard for one of these. They can just order from whatever PCB supplier you want. So that's going to stay out because there's some bits I need to do with that. As well as make it a nice connector that goes back to there. So we can actually use it. Although I think the conductivity isn't great on the keys. Just doing the classic adding solder to the pins before you desolder because it helps. Although this lovely old leaded solder, so it should desolder relatively nicely, but not always how it goes in practice. Be warned on that. Often the easiest stuff to desolder is the SMT. But one thing to note is a lot of the time these days you can get away of using lead-free for practically everything. The one application where lead-free isn't suitable is if you need to desolder it on through-hole again. Because that slightly higher melting temperature makes all the difference between the part desoldering and the part being an absolute mongrel. So now we have that relieved of the horrible connector. We've got to get a connector out of that, but we need to take apart the whole thing to do that. So that's going to be fun and take a while. But there's the extra 16K that makes up the 64. No, it'd be 32K. No, it would be more. It'd be more. Me not do maths well in head. This is an interesting development, but it looks like it's literally held. The main motherboard is held in by 4 screws. One there, one there, one there, one there. These 2 connectors out. Move the wire out the way. Then it's just a case of manoeuvring it out of the case. just making sure there isn't anything else fouling its exit. There we goes. And boom! First time I've completely removed one of these motherboards. That's what the backside looks like. You won't see that on any websites. I'm probably going to use this as an opportunity to get high-res photos of all the components. Oh, let's have a look in the bottom here. There's writing. 1277, handwritten in some sort of permanent marker. That actually orients the serial number on the back. 1277, size 64, 64K of memory, because there's 16K of onboard memory. I'm going to slot that back in because that's the protectant against electricity. This is going to need to be put back in to test it, but I'm not ready to test it. I need to remove the necessary offending connectors. And then I can actually fix it properly. But yeah. The Husky board out in the wild. Yeah, the actual main board only has 4 EEPROM sockets, whereas the extended has double that. The little extension board here. Can't remember if the other ones I have that. And now that ghastly ribbon cable is history from the motherboard as well. There's a keyboard one to focus on and a display one, which is actually dual layer, so I need to think about how to do the display one. Might need to dig through my parts. Old IDE cable. To accidentally short stuff. And we're back to recording, and we have wibbly wobbly wibbly wobs, but not as bad as it used to be. But that also means we can go, if we line up all the pins correctly, and boom, we have a reliable RAM connection that we can easily remove and whatnot as we please, and it lines up nicely with the display, which is good. So the holes line up, and there's a little tolerance left and right. So yeah, making progress in getting this thing restored and into a state where it can actually be serviceable. Because they didn't put much thought towards user serviceability in these machines. They very much were like, you take it back to us to service. Well, the company doesn't exist anymore, so that's not an option. We are making good progress on the ribbon cable replacement. You got the hot snot gun, give some strain relief to that so it doesn't just snap off inside and short out against the mostly the battery connector. It's all coming together quite nicely, actually, and in probably like 20 hours we'll be ready for our first test. And there we do the soldering bit. Yeah, you can see. Advantage of mobile phone cameras. 1 blob, 2 blob, there's 18 blobs to do. Now I've got the Mr. Blobby tune going through my head. Those of you who are not English won't really know Mr. Blobby, but it's very famous in the 90s. It's like a parody of a kid's cartoon character, like kid's character. There's even a Mr. Blobbyland and everything created that ended up failing miserably and closing down in 1999. I think the last of it was demolished a few years ago. So what was left was Mr. Blobby's house. Yeah. Now we have a proper keyboard connector. I think we're at a state where we can actually assemble this and test it, which is actually a very good state to be. And we have success. I don't know how well the camera can see it, but we can almost see Husky. And we can successfully turn it on and off. It's having trouble with the expanded memory module that I've fixed. But it is responding to that. The other thing I want to test it with is the keyboard. Just grab the keyboard. This allows me to see if the keyboard works then. And it does, complete with a beep. Hey! Select an option. Cool. Right, I've just got to figure out the RAM issue with this RAM card, or otherwise we've only got 16k of memory, and go from there. I can live with this only having 16k of memory. That it might struggle with, that's fine. Nice and solid. Oh. I think we might have faulty memory. So what is there to do now? Other than basically... So yeah, we unfortunately have a faulty memory board, so we got to go through debug and figure out what's wrong with this. That'll be its own nightmare, because desoldering these memory chips from these boards is a nightmare. So the last thing really to do with this, other than fix that memory board, is take out the display, replace the flat flex, this horrible thing, with this sticky stuff, with a ribbon cable, and find a replacement source LCD display that isn't smashed. A 4x32. If anyone has any ideas, put in the comments. I'm actually going to put this up before I'm fully complete with this. But yeah, this is basically what it is. It's basically a layer of plastic, I think water silver, just by the way they've tarnished, and then they're sandwiched by another layer of plastic that goes on as a sort of glue that's glued on. And well, after 40 odd years to 50 odd years, yeah, they don't hold up so well. Alexa, how many years has it been since 1982? Alexa, repeat. 41 years. Yeah, that's a long time. That's a very long time. So yeah, it's no wonder the glue kind of melts and becomes useless. But yeah, I am going to call that a day for now. I might resume this video later or start a part 2. I don't know. It depends on my mood, because it really does. But yeah, we're getting this beastie working, which is good. You know, we've discovered there's actually a memory issue, which could have explained why it was a bit janky on booting up before. But it doesn't help this stuff just disintegrate. You just move it around a few times and it's done for. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to figure out what my partner's buggered off and is doing. Bye.